When you are people pleasing, you are abandoning yourself to please other people. You will not only have resentment towards them, you'll have built up resentment, but it's to yourself because you're abandoning your values, your beliefs, your emotions, everything about yourself you're abandoning just to please that person. Welcome to Navigating the Mess with me, your host, Leah Nistico. I'm here to inspire you to find greatness in your life amidst all the chaos. Join me while I talk about my real life stories and finding out who I truly am beneath all the challenges life can throw you. Let's find connection in our chaos. Hey, welcome back. I have a question for you. Do you think people pleasing helps you or hinders you? It's actually a trick question. Because as a kid, if you learn this survival pattern, it actually helps you. But in the long run, when you're an adult and you're still doing it, it hinders you. I will explain that in the episode. I had to learn the perspective shift of realizing that people pleasing actually hurts you and other people in the long run. When you're not being real, when you're not being true to yourself, you're lying to yourself and to other people about who you are. And you won't be able to keep it up for the long run. Eventually, what comes up is anger and resentment, and it will come out in a bunch of different ways. So as a kid, when you're experiencing life for the very first time, how you get this survival strategy is you will notice when you don't get love and when you do. Normally, it's around when you're being really good and you're listening and you're falling in line with the family. That's when you will normally get love, or when you're overextending yourself and overgiving. As a kid, you learn to mold into this new version of you. Well, I want love all the time, so I'm just going to fall in line all the time, do what I'm supposed to be doing all the time. If I speak up about something, I won't get love, so I can't do that anymore. It's trial and error as a kid. You try and figure out where you can find the most love because that's how we survive. It helps you survive in your upbringing, in your family unit. So that's how we get that survival strategy. We're very smart people to, at such a young age, realize when we get love and when we don't and how we can keep it. That's how it helps us. But if we keep doing that in life, our entire life, it does not help us. It now starts to hinder us. As a kid, we needed to survive. In certain households, we needed to survive. So that's the thing that we needed, and it would help us survive until we moved out of that house. So when we've moved out and we're on our own, we no longer have to survive. But because we've done it for so many years, it's just ingrained in us. We just keep doing it without noticing. But eventually, as an adult, when you're on your own, you've created your own family, you have a husband, you have children, you come to that realization like, hey, I don't have to survive here. So why do I keep showing up as this people pleaser? This isn't helping me anymore. I am strong enough on my own to no longer be in survival mode. It is not serving me anymore to show up as this people pleaser person. I don't need to be that person anymore. When I figured that out was when I started having kids. So it took me over 30 years to figure that out. That's the start of me figuring it out and the start of that recovery. It takes many years to get out of that because I was in it for so long. The more you show up, not who you are, but who everybody else wants you to be, because you want their love, you will get anger. You will get resentment towards these people because it's like, why can't they love me for who I am? Why are they only loving me for what I can do for them? That hurts because when you do test the waters and show up authentically as you and you see resistance from them, they don't like it. The silent treatment, they start talking behind your back or to your face saying you've changed. All those things that are negative. Why can't you love me for me, not what I can do for you? That stays with you during that recovery process. But when you constantly show up as the person they want you to be, and they want you to act a certain way, and you do everything that you're told. Resentment, yeah. Burnout. You get exhausted. It's exhausting putting on an act of who you should be. You should be exactly who you are, and if they don't like it, that's fine. Then don't come around me then. When we learn to dim ourselves from such a young age, we learn to be fake. We learn to be who everybody wants us to be. It will lead to us believing that the real us or the real you is not worth loving, and that hurts. I know exactly when I'm going into a room or I talk with certain people that I can be myself fully, or I show up as somebody who I've dimmed. I know exactly. You can feel it in your soul. You can feel it that you're holding yourself back, or you get an idea in your head and you want to share it with the group, but you don't because you don't want to be judged, or you think it's stupid. You've tested the waters. You've said something that you thought was funny and crickets everywhere, and they're just looking at everybody like, what the heck? So why would you do it again? You dim yourself. You learn it so that you don't get judged, you don't get left out, you don't get called crazy, you don't get called weird. But if everyone was the same, do you know how boring that would be? Why can't we be weird? Why can't we have quirks? That's what makes the world go round. Here's a different perspective. I learned this a long time ago, and I didn't agree with it a long time ago, but now I do. The perspective is people pleasing is actually mean. Let me explain. When you are people pleasing, you are being somebody you're not. So you're showing the other person that nothing bothers you, even though it does. So if they say something to you and you took it personally and you're secretly mad inside, but you fluff it off to them, they think, first of all, they think they can treat you like that and you'll never be mad. But also, they have no idea that you're mad at them. And secretly, you're mad at them. So that's kind of mean, right? You're not giving them the benefit of, hey, what you'd said to me actually hurt. That's giving them the benefit of the doubt to show up authentically as them in the moment so that you know who they are, right? How they react to what you said is not on you. And that's why we people please, because we don't want to make them uncomfortable by saying that. We don't want them mad at us for saying that. But you can't control their actions. And as a people pleaser, we think that if we control every situation, that nobody's going to be mad at us and that we're the good person. But it's actually mean. You're being mean to yourself because you're showing up as someone who you're not. And you're holding back yourself from other people. Give them the benefit to show up as them. Give them the benefit to change. Give them the benefit of showing you who they are. And if they aren't who you think they are, they're going to show you by reacting how they react in an uncomfortable situation. Then you know exactly, okay, that's who you are. But sometimes people might surprise you. You don't want them to feel uncomfortable, so you hold back. Test it out. One day, test it out and say, hey, it hurt me when you said this. They could surprise you and go, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. That came out wrong. I didn't mean it like that. And then there's space for repair. But if they act in a mean way, then you know. But their reaction is not your fault. Their reaction to what you said is on them. We can't control anyone, how they feel. We can't control how they react to you. And as a people pleaser, that's scary to be out of control in that situation. Because being a people pleaser, I feel like you're controlling how other people view you. They can't read your mind. So you can be mad in here and show up unbothered on the outside. But you're not being true. You're not being real. Real people have feelings. It's okay to have feelings. Real people show up and say, hey, that hurt, because nobody's perfect. And we will hurt loved ones unknowingly. And we hope that our loved ones will tell us so we can repair. I've been in a situation where a family member has told me that they wanted to take our kids a couple times a week to help out during the summer. We responded with, are you sure? Because that's a lot of work. Yep, no problem. Yep, I can do it. I want to do it. Okay, just tell us if it's too much, we said. Okay. Nobody ever told us it was too much. I kept getting the text from them like, oh, can we do it again this week, 2 times a week? Yep, okay. I mean, sure, if you really want to. I noticed that after a couple more weeks of doing this, I would go to drop off my kids and I would get some looks from another family member. And I didn't understand why. So I would text or I would say to them, like, is everything okay? Because you can tell us if it's getting too much. No, it's totally fine. No, it's totally fine. Okay, I'm confused because I'm getting looks from this family member, but you're saying everything's fine. Doesn't add up. We can't read minds. We go off by what the other person is telling us. If they're secretly mad, that is unfair to us to not know and go by what you're saying. That's not showing up authentically. If you're mad, you need to tell the person because this person's not going to know and they're going to keep bringing their kids over. If it's too much, you're going to get resentful. And then after the summer was over, we had a family talk and apparently it was way too much. We had no idea because we were going off what one person was saying, which was, it's not a problem. Don't worry about it. I want them to come over. I love when they're over. You have to believe what they're saying because you can't read their mind. See what I mean? When you're a people pleaser and you're doing it because you don't want other people to be mad, that's unfair. That was really unfair to us for them to not show up real in that moment because we had no idea and we would never want to bring our kids over if it was too much for anyone. We don't want to hurt other people. We had other arrangements too. We should have gotten the benefit of the doubt that we would have shown up as, good people in that moment to be like, of course, if it's too much, we won't bring them over. It's not a problem. But we never got that chance to act as that person. We had no idea. We thought everything was fine. When you are people pleasing, you are abandoning yourself to please other people. So now you will not only have resentment towards them, you'll have built up resentment, but it's to yourself because you're abandoning your values, your beliefs, your emotions, like everything about yourself, you're abandoning just to please that person. So now you got to think, would you rather please people and abandon yourself or please yourself and tell the truth to the people? Because really, if you look at it, you're abandoning yourself and everything you stand in and in who you are, your emotions and everything, just to be liked, just to be accepted. And who's to say they're gonna like you anyways? You can people please so hard and they'll still not like you. Or you can show up as your true self and they'll still not like you. So why abandon yourself to still not be liked? All that's teaching them is that you're going to easily abandon yourself just to do whatever they want. They've got you like that. You will drop everything at the drop of a hat just to do whatever it is that they want you to do or act the person that they want you to be just so that you can be liked. The only reason that some people might like you as a people pleaser is what you're doing for them. That's it. Because once you stand up for yourself, you will get pushback and say, you've changed. You did this last year. How come you won't do it again? Yeah, I changed for the better for me. And if they say it's not good for me, yeah, because you only liked me for what I did for you. You didn't like me for who I am. Clearly, because you don't like me now. And I am being authentically me. Those people are not your true friends. And if they're family members, then they truly didn't really love you. They loved what you could do for them. And that is a hard realization because deep in our minds, we think family should show up and be there and love us no matter what. But that's not the truth. Not in a lot of families. Some families, there are some family members who will only love you for what you can do for them. And the minute you cancel a plan because maybe you got sick or whatever, you're tired, they get mad at you. They give you the silent treatment. They say, suck it up and do it anyway because you told me that you were going to do it. That doesn't show that they love you. If they cared for you, they would be like, oh my gosh, you're tired. Yes, I get it. It's been a long week. Don't worry about it. We can reschedule. Just focus on getting better. That's true love. That's true caring. When I first met my husband and we were dating, I was a huge people pleaser. How old was I? I was 25 and I wanted everybody to like me. So without knowing, we control the narrative by doing and being everything to everyone. Being a yes girl, right? So when I met his parents, the first time I met them, I permanently had a smile on my face, even though I was uncomfortable. I said yes the entire night. And from then on, that's who I was. because I wanted them to like me. At the time, my mother-in-law was talking to me beside me, and I was like, yes, yes, and being like super happy and being who I thought I should be in order to be liked. She had invited me over for another dinner on a day that I already had planned to go out for dinner with my best friend. And in the moment, I was like, I can't say no to this lady. She's not gonna like me. I have to say yes, and I'll figure it out. So I was abandoning myself and my friend in that moment just to be liked. I was willing to put myself in an awkward situation and like double book myself and figure it out just to be liked. Who's to say that my mother-in-law wouldn't have liked me even if I said the truth? Hey, you know what? I can't that day. I'm going out for supper with my best friend. But how about we do it on a different night? Why would she not like me? I'm being real in the moment. So when my husband or my boyfriend at the time called me out on it, I was super embarrassed. He said, you can't that night. Aren't you going out with your best friend? And I had to pretend like I forgot. But I feel like people knew, oh, she was just saying yes to be liked. So they knew I was a people pleaser. They knew that. So when people know that, you're giving them the benefit to take advantage of you now. They know you're a people pleaser. Okay, how far can we take this? Not saying that everybody thinks that way, but some people might. There was another time when I went over to their house and his mom took me downstairs in the basement and she was trying to get rid of some things in her house and she said, oh, do you need this? And do you need this? And do you need this? And all these things. And I was like, yep. And I come upstairs with a bunch of stuff. And Phil was like, what is all of that? And I said, oh, we're bringing it home. We need it. And he's like, no, we don't. No, we don't. That is way too much. And he was real because that was his family. And he goes, Mom, we don't need that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, but she said yes. Yeah, I did. I was a huge yes girl. I will just say yes to make you be happy with me. I don't want to upset you. If I say no, I might upset you. There's a chance you might not like me. I couldn't take that chance. I couldn't have another person think I'm mean or a horrible person. So we control the narrative by abandoning ourselves, doing whatever the other person wants us to do, regardless of us not feeling well, being tired, if we need the thing or not, we will just take it. I remember one Christmas, I was over at my in-laws' house. I was pregnant with my second child, and we all had supper, and I got up and I was walking around. Because my husband's family was so big, there was all the adults that sat at the table eating and then all the adult children sitting in the living room eating and chatting there. So I got up, I was walking around, and I made my way to the table to see what everybody was talking about there. And one of my in-laws had said to me, wow, how far along are you? And I said, 12 weeks. And she said, whoa, you're pretty big for 12 weeks. Why is that? In that moment, I had a choice to stand up for myself or people please and just brush it off. That didn't make me feel good, especially because being pregnant was hard for me because I had an eating disorder long time ago. So you're still technically in recovery. It could come back at any time, depending on your mindset and all the things. But I obviously brushed it off because there was a lot of people at that table, all adults. So I felt uncomfortable. I took that on instead of saying that was kind of rude. Why would you say that? And making her feel uncomfortable, calling her out on her behavior and having her have the chance to explain to you how she meant it, because I took it in a negative light. That was rude. You never comment on somebody's weight, especially if they're pregnant. Their hormones are all out of whack. Like, did someone do that to you when you were pregnant? Do you know how that felt? You're basically calling me fat, or according to you, you think I'm too big to be 12 weeks pregnant, because she said, oh, at 12 weeks, I wasn't even showing. Look at you. Okay. Yeah. So I said, well, I don't know. It's my second child. Maybe that's why. And I tried to brush it off. She kept going, no, at 12 weeks, I had 3 kids. No, I was not even showing. Okay, well, I don't know what you want me to say other than thanks for calling me fat. So I took it and I stuffed it. And I didn't tell my husband, and I was extremely upset and sad and hurt that some family member would want to say that to me in front of everyone. I wouldn't dream of saying that to anyone. I felt that because they were adults, I wasn't allowed to stand up for myself, because if I did, I would be considered disrespectful. That's how we were brought up. If you stood up for yourself, or you made the other person uncomfortable and they're an adult and they're older than you, how disrespectful are you? Excuse me, who's being disrespectful in this moment? She was, not me. I had every right to stand up for myself because that was hurtful. Why on earth would somebody intentionally want to hurt somebody else? But because I brushed it off, she knew that I would abandon myself at my own expense. I would just take it. I don't have any respect for myself to stand up for myself, because there's a nice way I could have done it. There's a calm, assertive way that we can say things to get our point across and stand up for ourselves in the process. We don't always have to yell and scream to get our point across. We don't have to be mean. And standing up for ourselves isn't mean, but it's almost as if I revert back to a child when an adult, someone older than me, is saying something to me and maybe it hurt me. I reverted back to my childhood, to an 8-year-old version of me in that moment, and thought, I can't say anything because that means I'm disrespectful. I was 30. You can absolutely say something to an older person and not be having the label as being mean or disrespectful. We're all adults here. There is no more hierarchy. It teaches them how you show up for yourself is how little you think of yourself, and allows them to treat you however they want to treat you, because you won't say anything, you won't do anything, you don't respect yourself, so why should they respect you? That goes along with if your spouse doesn't stick up for you in front of his own family. If he notices the disrespect that his family is showing you, and he does nothing about it, it shows his family that he doesn't respect you. So why should they? He's teaching them that they're allowed to treat you however they want to treat you, and nothing will ever get done from it. They're getting away with it, and you're allowing it, or your spouse is allowing it. And then both of you will go home at the end of the night and talk about it, be mad secretly. They don't know that you're mad. Have the uncomfortable conversation calmly, without yelling, so that they're aware of what they're doing is hurting you. But how they react during that conversation is not on you. If they throw a fit, if they have a temper tantrum, if they tell you you're overreacting, that's on them. And now you can choose to distance yourself because you know nothing's changing. They're going to keep treating you exactly the same way as they always have. They don't want to take accountability. So now you have a choice. You want to stay in it, be mad, and never bring it up because they told you to never bring up another thing, or you go down this route and you distance yourself. You be the bad person because you've left the family, but you're living a much more peaceful life, authentically, by telling people the truth, standing up for yourself. That makes them uncomfortable. I'm sorry, I'm not here to make your life comfortable. I'm here to make my life comfortable and to show up authentically as me. And I would hope that you would do the same. Tell me if I hurt you unintentionally. Tell me if I'm doing something wrong. And I will be there authentically as me, showing up, being compassionate, because that's the person I am. You will never find the people for you if you don't show up exactly as you. Learning to stop being a people pleaser was, and still is, a hard thing for me to learn, because you have to parent yourself. You have to unlearn that behavior and relearn a different way. You have to learn who you are authentically, because if you've been people pleasing like me for over 30 years, you have no idea who you are. So it's almost like starting backwards, learning who you are, and over time being okay with showing up exactly who you are. And I've noticed now, over doing this for like 7 years now, I've finally reached the point of coming into myself in front of new people, acting exactly who I am as a person in front of new people, new connections, new friends. And if they don't like me, then they don't like me. I've gone around friends that I've held myself back in those connections. I haven't been doing that. I've shown up as me in these certain friend groups that I never have before. And I'm seeing like a lot better of a connection because you're showing up as you. It's not forced. It's real. It's fun. You're showing your quirkiness, your funny side. And you don't care if they like it or not, or they don't find it funny. You find it funny. My husband finds it funny. I know at least one person's going to find it funny. And it's just, I've gotten a lot better feedback. So it's all in trial and error, which is scary. Going down that route of not being a people pleaser is a scary thing to do. It's hard to unlearn certain things because you're going to go back. You're going to find yourself falling back into certain patterns, but then realizing it, wait, I don't want to do that, and redirecting yourself. You will feel better after you do the little redirection because you're showing up with your values and your beliefs. You're not abandoning yourself. You're going to feel better. Practicing saying no to people. My gosh, that was like, I started doing that about 3 years ago. That's a hard one. That was so hard for me, especially with certain people. Not everyone, but certain people. People who I really respected. That was so hard. And let me tell you exactly how it would feel. So if I had to say no, say I made a plan with somebody like a week ago and it's finally coming up, but when you make a plan, you don't know future use feelings or emotions or anything, right? So you make the plan, you're excited about it, but by that time, something could come up. You could get sick or you had a really off week, so you're extremely tired. So that's what happened. I had a really rough week that week. And so I was extremely tired by the end of the week and I had to cancel this plan. So hard. I was sitting in a place where it was like, I wanted to cancel the plan so I could just do nothing at home and really have some self-care so I can show up as a good mom, friend, wife, and everything. Self-care is needed in order to show up the best version you can for everyone as well as yourself. And so I was struggling between taking self-care but I also did want to go to the hangout. It wasn't that I didn't want to go. I did want to go. So that's where I was struggling. But what did I want? I had to really go inwards and say, what do I need more? Self-care or just to go to this hangout? I knew if I went to the hangout, I wouldn't be fully me. And that's unfair to the other person because they don't want like you to feel tired and not yourself. And now you're just like there because you have to be. They want you there as your funny, quirky, energetic self. That's what makes the hangout great. But if you're not going to give 100% in yourself, then don't go. Reschedule. So I knew that I had to take this time for me. It took me, and I'm not even joking, it took me 1 hour to send a text. 1 hour. It was sitting there. I had typed it out. I had showed my husband and said, does this sound mean? And he reassured, no, that's really good. Okay, it's not mean. I'm not mean if I reschedule a plan. And I was trying to control this other person to not take it the wrong way. But you can't. You can't. All you can do is show up authentically, be apologetic, and reschedule it for another day. Make the plan a different day and send the text. It took me an hour. I sent it and I was so scared. I was shaking. I was sweating. It was as if I was being chased by a tiger. My heart rate really skyrocketed. My face turned all red. My whole body was shaking because I was so scared I was going to lose this friend over showing up authentically as me and rescheduling it. It's totally okay, but I was practicing saying no and canceling a plan or rescheduling it. The person took it really good, said, yeah, no problem. And I was shocked. I was so shocked. And I felt really good after. You feel so good because you're taking care of you. And so I got to do my self-care that day and I felt so much better. But I have made plans a week ago and would still show up and I would be so tired and not myself. And I abandoned myself by going. So every time you do that, you get a little bit more anger, a little bit more resentful because you're assuming they're going to be mad at you if you cancel the plan. But when they cancel a plan on you, you get even more mad because you're like, well, why can't I? Every time I do that, you get mad at me. You're getting resentful thinking, I can't cancel a plan with you because I'm scared you'll be mad. So you don't and you show up. But when they do it to you, my gosh, the anger, even though you have no idea if they would actually be mad or not. Also, learning to not overshare when saying no to someone was really hard too. Because when you overshare, you're trying to control the narrative of why it's okay for you to say no in the moment. Learning that no is a complete sentence, my gosh, was hard. I would constantly say no, but then give an over explanation as to why I need to say no in the moment. You don't need to do that. No is a complete sentence. I had to learn to really go inwards, listen to my gut, my inner voice, and my intuition in a situation. How do I feel really in this moment? Your first gut feeling. If somebody asks you a question, what's your initial feeling? And go with that, because that's your first feeling on it. And that's your authentic feeling. So if somebody asks you a question on if you want to go for a hangout and you're like, oh, no, I don't. I really don't. I'm exhausted. That's your authentic feeling in the moment. But if the longer you let it go, you'll watch yourself go, oh, well, you know what? I canceled last time, and so I should probably go this time. And you're starting to abandon yourself, and you're starting to force yourself to go and giving yourself reasons as to why you should go. Don't do that. Listen to your initial feeling, your gut, your inner voice, your intuition, and go with it. If somebody asks you, you want to hang out, and it's like immediately yes, that's true. Just as if it's immediately no. And that's your answer. Don't try to find reasons in order to abandon yourself. Setting healthy boundaries. So all of these things are how to get out of being a people pleaser. And setting healthy boundaries was another one. All of them are so hard to get out of because you're doing this people pleasing for so long. Setting a boundary for me was I felt like I was being mean because I've never done it before. And when you do set a healthy boundary and you get pushback, because you will, well, you let me do that before, how come you can't do that now? Well, I've changed and I'm no longer abandoning myself. So I'm going to put in this boundary. I'm putting in a boundary in order to keep you in my life, not get rid of you. And that's what people don't understand. I would easily abandon myself at the drop of a hat for anyone and anything that they wanted me to. But then I would have major resentment in the relationship over time. Because if you keep doing it over and over and over and abandoning yourself a million times, the resentment is there. I lost a lot of people when I decided to change for myself. I decided to not abandon myself anymore, and that this survival strategy that I learned as a child no longer serves me in my life now because I don't need to survive. I lost a lot of connections. I lost a lot of people, but all of those people only liked me for what I did for them. They did not like me for who I am. Respect yourself. To set healthy boundaries, to say no when needed, to prioritize your own needs over anyone else's, and not overgive yourself so that you burn out. If you get major pushback from people when you do that, they aren't your people. You will start feeling more free and light and happier with yourself and your life when you become your real self. Start pleasing you. You deserve it. People will come and go, but you are with you for a lifetime. Thank you for joining me on Navigating the Mess. Hopefully some of this resonated with you. If so, please hit the like and subscribe button or leave a comment. I would love to share the comments every episode. See you next week, same time, same place.